This time on ChinnyVision, a bit of hand action. Today you have your flatbed scanners. You simply put your A4 sheet onto the scanner, you hit scan, it scans in beautiful colour. The software removes the dust and everything. It's all very clever. But back in the day, well, there were things on the Amstrad like the dart scanner, which was like a pen that you ran over. Was it a pen or I think it went on the printer. So you fed your image through the printer. That was it, your dot matrix printer. So that's your photograph. Ruined. And then hand scanners came along. Not flatbed, but hand scanners. Like this one. Power scanner, high quality hand scanner, because we need the word scanner twice on the top there. And this is the very model I had for my Amiga 1200, you see, because flatbed scanners were incredibly expensive. So we had these things called hand scanners. And if you haven't come across one of these before, boy, you're in for a treat. But we didn't know any better. This is, as I say, this is the model I had. And of course, naturally, I threw mine out long ago, because why would you want to hang on to such a thing until you're running a YouTube channel where you're talking about the stuff you used to own to like-minded people? But I didn't really expect to be doing that. So yeah, this is the model I got all March 1993. I got a sound digitizer at the same time as well for my Amiga 1200. It's a 64 colour grayscale scanner. Not the first time I'd used one, because our PCs at school, we had one hand scanner on our 286 Opus Technology PCs. And these can be picked up very cheaply today. Most of them are black and white. That was pretty much the standard. There were a few colour ones around hand scanners, but they were very expensive and are much rarer now. But what do you get in the box? And is there anything on the bottom? There's nothing on the bottom. You open it up, and what do you get inside? What you get is a floppy disk with your software on it, because without the software you are completely stuffed, because everything's proprietary, obviously. So you can't go using some other software like you can today, where you can scan in Photoshop or anything you want, really. So you've got your floppy disk. You've got a power supply, which is... does actually say, that's always handy, isn't it? So if you need one of these, I will measure that and let you know on the screen, because if you do come across one of these Mustek scanners, you may want to know what the voltage is and the polarity. This just says 240 volts, 50 or 60 hertz. Conforms to BS415, made in the UK. No specs at all. Don't know if it's positive centre or negative centre, what the voltage is. No idea at all. Thanks, lads, for that. We also get in here, this is the interface. Here, that's the interface. That one end plugs into the Amiga, and one end gives you a pass-through to other devices. Note, some devices do not like being on pass-throughs. So, yeah, I think I used to have my digitizer plugged in first, my sound digitizer plugged in first, then the scanner. But if I wanted my VIDI digitizer plugged in, I had to unplug everything and plug that in on its own. So, yeah, and there's a little kind of connector on there for the scanner and one for the power supply, and little logo on there, which was presumably intended to fit that entire thing there, but doesn't. What else do we have in here? We have the beast itself. The hand scanner. And all of this is funded by ChinnyVision Patreon supporters, so thank you to them for that, so I can go on sprees on eBay buying this stuff. Hand scanner. Right, it looks like that. And yeah, that's not like your flatbed scanner, is it? A little bit of weird discolorization there. I don't know if that's dirt or what. It's a Mustek 64 grey levels 400 DPI hand scanner. Yeah, it's 400 DPI, but frankly you can get later models that are 400 DPI that give you much better performance. That's what a hand scanner looks like. Little LED there which lights up when you're scanning and flashes. You have to take note of this because I forgot about it, a switch on the side which goes in stages between text and photo. If you try and scan a photo in using text mode, it comes out looking rubbish. And likewise, text mode kind of reduces the colour and makes it easier to see the text. Photo mode is designed to pick up all 64 grayscales. On the other side, you've got a DPI switch there. That's not done in software. You do it on the scanner, unlike today. 100 through to 400 DPI. You'll usually leave it on 400, obviously, and downscale. What you need, you've got a light and dark control there. If you can see that there, which helps you adjust the image. There's a bit of trial and error in that. And simply, and I'll show you what you do properly on the Amiga in a bit, but you put this on your image and you hold the button down and you very carefully pull it down until the computer stops scanning. You have to tell the computer how far you want it to scan. And yes, that has all the problems you can imagine, but we'll come to that in a bit. Right, let's go over to the Amiga and see the software that's on this floppy disk in action. Right, so I'm with the computers, and here we are in Workbench. Oh, how we love Workbench. And I've copied the scanner software to the compact flash drive. Oddly, the install routine didn't actually work, but just dragging the files across to the hard disk did. Click on that, and there we go. Power Scan Professional, written by Adam Hill and Philip Wattis. The same software I had with my scanner. So let's see if I can remember how to use it. It has image editing capabilities, although you're far better off importing your images into a proper suite like a Deluxe Paint. And I'm running in a high-res interlaced mode. If you're looking at any flickering or anything like that, hopefully the capture will have got rid of that. So 400 DPI, but I've selected that on the scanner. It's picked that up. You have to select the width and the height. Tells me what my file size is going to be and what the maximum size for my memory is. So I've got 64 meg in this machine, so I've got plenty of this. Scan's going to take up 288K. But all the basic settings other than the measurements are done on the scanner, the DPI, brightness and so on, and the software picks it up, so that's okay. So here we go. I've got my treasure hunt annual. I'm going to carefully scan this in. So what you're going to see on the screen is what's scanned in. Try and get it very precise. Here we go. You'll notice that's not a very good image at the moment. What you do is that's what the scanner sees, and we have to hit convert to grey. Handily hidden in the other section there, and it will turn it all into proper grey. That's not worked very well. Look at Anna Grice's face. That's the problem with hand scanners. It takes a little bit of skill to get it right. Otherwise you end up with, well, you will always end up with distortion. That's the problem, as you will see. So we'll get rid of that, and we will try again. This is the maximum resolution the scanner does, 400 DPI. Lined up very precisely. Down we go, very carefully, trying to keep it straight, keep the speed straight, and I've still probably got it wrong. Right, let's convert that to grey and see how that comes out. Right, with the bottom's wonky, but it's better. We'll give it another go. Off we go again. Third time lucky. There's a little light on there that indicates how well you're scanning as well, and it should be off. If it comes on, you're doing it wrong. You're too slow, too fast. Convert to grey. Well, that's better. It's not perfect, but it's better. There's Graham Berry and Frank Mayborough, respectively the cameraman and the sound, or the VT engineer, sorry, on Treasure Hunt. You've got some options in here, so I can hit clean up, which does stuff to the image, actually kind of makes it worse if you look at it, but we're going to live with that for now. You've got some drawing options. You can zoom in, you can see the palette. Only the palette always seems to be, the scanner claims 64 colours, but it always seems to be in 16 colour mode on the Amiga here, so I don't know if it's the scanner's capable of 64 colours, but the software isn't. There's no enhancement for AGA at all. Let's scan another image. Down we go. It's flashing at me. It's staying on this time. No, it's going off. the light. It's hard to know what you're doing wrong because it feels the same. It feels okay. There we go. See, it turns all those grayscale dots into a proper grey image. Perhaps that's the 64 grayscales there, and it just approximates it to 16 colours for the Amiga. You do get those lines down the image as well, which seems to be, we get it on kind of scanners of the era. And we'll try another image here, a darker image. And this is the problem, the scanner's only so big, so if you want an A4 image, tough, you're going to have to try and stitch it together, which is easier said than done if there's slight distortions in the image. This is a darker image of Annika Rice here with a dolphin, and I don't think this will come out too well. I don't think there's enough contrast on the image for the scanner to work well. We'll give it a go. Yeah, that doesn't really work, does it? And you can fiddle with the brightness and the other bits, but it doesn't work. Bit of fun. Let's scan the BBC News page from my iPad. Get the latest news on your Amiga. Just not via a conventional way. Quite difficult to do on the slippery screen. Scanner going all over the place. There you go. A little sorry for the flickering there. Again, I'm in high-res interlace mode. Well, it kind of comes out. Kind of works. The latest news on your Amiga. The best place to edit the pictures is, of course, in Deluxe Paint. Here we are in D-Paint. And we can zoom in and we can touch out the little lines you get on these scanners as well, where one of the little sensor things hasn't picked it up as well. I don't think so. It could be dead pixels. Well, it's dead pixels, dead bits of the sensor, but I think it's just a way these scanners work. But D-Paint is definitely the best place to edit these images. So the Mustek Hand Scanner, and indeed any hand scanner on the Amiga or PC, what do I make of it? Well, it is what it is. In the day, when I first used one of these, it was revolutionary. You could scan your images into the computer, and that's what I'd always wanted to do. So you could manipulate them, you could do DTP, you could do all sorts. It didn't matter it was black and white, it didn't matter that it was difficult, because this was a completely new technology. Completely new thing that you could do. So you didn't question that it was a bit rubbish. Looking back at it today, it looks ludicrous. That you get the stretching on the image and all the other bits and pieces and the problems with it. The quality's actually okay. For the price, what, these £150, something like that, that's not bad at all. And it was a revolutionary device for the time at a price that you could afford, unlike flatbed scanners that were just completely prohibitively expensive. If you want to scan things into your Amiga, but why would you? Unless you're doing something on the Amiga, I guess, but you could probably just use a flatbed scanner on a PC, a modern one, and convert the files across to the Amiga as IFF files relatively easily. So yeah, I'm afraid hand scanners are a bit of a historical curiosity now, but back in the day, revolutionary, and a revolutionary way to get your images into your computer.